Captain Jai-Ho Park stood at the bridge of the merchant vessel Morning Calm, staring at the strange ship floating dead in space. His dark eyes narrowed as he studied the readings on the main screen. The alien vessel was unlike anything he had seen in his 15 years of space travel. "Captain, sensors show their life support is failing," Hei-yun said from her engineering station. Her fingers moved quickly across the control panel. "They have maybe 2 hours of air left." Jai-Ho rubbed his chin, considering the situation. Space pirates sometimes use tricks like this to lure in helpful ships. Yet something about this felt different. The damage to the alien ship looked real, not staged. "I say we move on." Dong-Huk spoke up from his security station. "We don't know these aliens. They could be dangerous." He stood with his arms crossed, his security officer's training making him cautious. Jai-Ho understood the risk. The Morning Calm was a simple merchant ship carrying food and supplies to the Korean colony on Mars. They weren't equipped for first contact with a new alien species, but he couldn't shake the thought of those aliens dying alone in the coldest space. "If that was us floating out there," Jai-Ho said quietly, "wouldn't we want someone to stop and help?" Hei-yun looked up from her station. "Captain, you're not really thinking of." "Prepare the emergency docking tube," Jai-Ho ordered, "and get the medical bay ready." "This is crazy," Dong-Huk protested. "The company rules clearly say." "I know what the rules say," Jai-Ho cut him off, "but I'm not going to float past people who need help just because they're not human." The crew worked quickly to position their ship. Through the main window, Jai-Ho could now see details of the alien vessel. Its hull was covered in strange markings, and its design was both beautiful and foreign. As they got closer, emergency lights could be seen flashing inside. "I'm picking up movement," Hei-yun reported. "At least 5 life forms. Their body temperatures are similar to ours." The docking tube extended slowly between the two ships. Jai-Ho felt his heart beating faster. This could either be first contact with a new species or a terrible mistake. "Dong-Huk, you're with me," Jai-Ho said, checking his emergency breather. "Hei-yun, keep the engines ready. If anything goes wrong, you get the ship out of here." The security chief grabbed his stunner, muttering under his breath about foolish captains and their big hearts. When the airlock opened, Jai-Ho saw them for the first time. The aliens were tall and slim, with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer. Their large eyes widened at the sight of the humans. One of them stepped forward, hands raised to show they were empty. "Their ship's computer is trying to connect with ours." Hei-yun's voice came through Jai-Ho's earpiece. "Should I allow it?" "Do it," Jai-Ho said. A moment later, a translation program began working. "We are Nexeri," the alien in front spoke, its words converted to Korean in Jai-Ho's ear. "Our engine failed during our escape. We did not expect. We did not think anyone would stop." "Escape?" Dong-Huk's hand tightened on his stunner. "From what?" "Our world was attacked," another Nexeri said. "We are all that's left of our research station. The raiders took everything, damaged our ship when we fled." Jai-Ho looked at their faces. Despite their alien features, he could see the same things he'd seen in human refugees: fear, exhaustion, and desperate hope. "Well," Jai-Ho said, smiling warmly, "you're safe now. We have room in our cargo hold for your people, and our engineer can look at your engine." The Nexeri stared at him in confusion. "You would help us? Without knowing us? Without payment?" "That's what people do," Jai-Ho said simply. "Or at least, that's what people should do." The Nexeri gathered their few belongings while Hei-yun prepared to study their engine. As Jai-Ho watched them board his ship, he didn't know he had just started something that would change the galaxy. He was simply doing what felt right, showing kindness to strangers in need. He didn't know that this simple act would make many alien species question everything they believed about strength and weakness. He didn't know that his decision would eventually be taught in alien schools as the moment when humanity began its quiet conquest of the galaxy, not through weapons or technology, but through the simple, devastating power of being kind. All Jai-Ho knew was that there were people who needed help, and that was all he needed to know. News spread fast in space. Within weeks of the Morning Calm's rescue of the Nexari refugees, stories about the strange humans began appearing in trading posts across the galaxy. The Nexari were a well-known trading species, and their words carried weight. Ambassador Songmin sat in the Great Hall of the Galactic Council, trying not to show his confusion. The alien representatives had been arguing about humans for 3 hours now. He hadn't expected Captain Jai-Ho's simple act of kindness to cause such a stir. They just helped. A representative of the Krell Trade Federation asked for the third time. The alien's scales shifted colors in disbelief, without asking for payment, without signing contracts. Yes, Songmin said patiently. That is normal for humans when we see others in need. The chamber erupted in worried whispers. A tall bird-like alien named Ixel stepped forward, its feathers ruffled in agitation. But how do you profit from this behavior? Ixel asked. What do humans gain? Songmin thought about how to explain it in simple terms. We gain the knowledge that we helped someone who needed it. That is enough. In the back of the chamber, representatives from the Nexari Trading Guild watched quietly. They had seen human kindness firsthand. One of them, a female named Lei, stood up to speak. The human captain could have left us to die, she said clearly. Instead, he shared his food, fixed our ship, and asked for nothing. His crew even gave us their personal items when they learned we had lost everything. The chamber grew silent. Such behavior went against everything these species understood about survival in space. Meanwhile, back on the Morning Calm, He-Yun was showing Captain Jai-Ho the messages flooding their communication system. The Nexari had spread word about their rescue far and wide. Look at this, Captain, He-Yun said, pointing to the screen. Trading ships from 12 different species want to set up regular routes with us. They say we're trustworthy. Jai-Ho scratched his head. All this fuss just because we helped some people in trouble. That's just basic decency. Dong-Kuk, who had finally stopped complaining about the rescue, looked up from his security station. Basic for humans, maybe. But look at these messages. Most species out here think helping strangers is either suspicious or stupid. On a space station near the galaxy's core, a group of alien merchants discussed the humans over their drinks. They had all heard the stories by now. These humans are dangerous, one merchant said. They help without wanting anything back. How can you compete with that? I heard they have whole organizations dedicated to helping strangers, another added. They call them charities and aid groups. My cousin trades near Earth, a third merchant joined in. Says humans will risk their own lives to save others, even animals. They have special teams just to save creatures that aren't even intelligent. Back in the council chamber, Songmin was still trying to explain human nature. A holographic display showed scenes from Earth's history, people helping during natural disasters, sharing food during famines, rescuing others from danger. But this behavior makes no logical sense, the Krell representative insisted. It wastes resources. It puts the helper in danger. Natural selection should have removed this trait. Songmin smiled. Actually, it made us stronger. By helping each other, humans built trust. Trust led to cooperation. Cooperation let us build everything we have. As the council members watched the historical scenes, something unexpected happened. The younger aliens, especially those who had never held power, began to show interest. They could see how human kindness had built something their own species had never managed, a society where helping others was seen as strength, not weakness. The ripple effect was spreading. In trading posts and space stations across the galaxy, stories about the strange, kind humans were changing how species thought about each other. Some young aliens even began to copy human behavior, helping others in small ways. No one realized it yet, but this was just the beginning. The power of human kindness was about to reshape the galaxy in ways that no weapon ever could. And it all started because one captain decided to help some strangers in need. The Krathi ship landed at Seoul Spaceport on a rainy morning. Unlike the sleek trading vessels humans were used to seeing, this ship was dark and covered in thick armor. It looked like a weapon made into a spaceship. Dr. Yu Jin watched from her office window as the Krathi diplomat walked down the ship's ramp. The alien was tall and muscular, with gray skin that looked like stone. Two guards walked behind him, carrying weapons that were clearly meant to be seen. "They're trying to scare us," her assistant said quietly. Yu Jin nodded. As Earth's leading expert on alien psychology, she had studied the Krathi. They believed in showing strength at all times. The meeting room was large and bright, with windows looking out over the city. The Krathi diplomat, who called himself Rek, sat stiffly in his chair. Across from him sat Yu Jin and 3 human officials. "We have come to warn you," Rek said without any greeting. His translator made his voice sound like grinding rocks. "Your species is making a serious mistake." Yu Jin kept her face calm. "What mistake would that be?" "This. Kindness." Rek said the word like it was a disease. "Helping strangers, saving enemies, taking care of the weak. It will destroy you." One of the human officials started to speak, but Yu Jin held up her hand. She wanted to hear more. "Tell us why you think this," she said. Rek leaned forward. "The galaxy is not a gentle place. Every species that survived did so by being strong, by fighting. But humans," he shook his head, "you waste resources on the weak. You risk lives for strangers. You show mercy to those who would harm you. And this bothers you?" Yu Jin asked. "It bothers us because it is spreading." Rek's fist hit the table. "Young Krathi are asking questions they should not ask. Why don't we help others? Why do we only care about strength? They are becoming weak, like humans." Yu Jin studied the alien's face. Behind his anger, she saw fear. The Krathi were afraid, not of human weapons, but of human kindness. Later that day, Yu Jin sat in her lab, recording her thoughts. Around her, screens showed data from different alien species, their histories, their behaviors, their ways of thinking. The Krathi warning revealed something important. She spoke into her recorder. Most alien species evolved through constant competition. They survived by being stronger than others. But humans. She paused, looking at an image of children sharing food. "We survived by helping each other." She pulled up more images. Early humans caring for their injured, ancient graves where people had been carefully buried with gifts, cave paintings showing groups working together. "Our kindness isn't weakness," she continued. "It's a different kind of strength. We evolved to be social, to care about others. It let us build societies, create art, explore space. And now," she looked at recent reports from across the galaxy. Young aliens helping each other, trading ships stopping to rescue strangers, small acts of kindness spreading like ripples in a pond. Now our way of thinking is spreading. Species that evolve through competition are learning cooperation. The Krathi are right to be worried. Their whole way of life is being changed, not by force, but by example. The rain had stopped outside her window. Yu Jin watched as a group of alien visitors shared an umbrella with a human child who had forgotten theirs. Such a small thing, she thought. Such a simple act of kindness. But multiply that by millions of beings across thousands of worlds. Her computer beeped with a new message. More reports were coming in. The Krathi Empire's younger generation was starting to rebel against their elders' harsh ways. They had seen human success and wanted to try a different path. The warning came too late. Yu Jin said softly to herself, "You can't stop kindness once people see how powerful it is. The real question is, are we ready for how much we're about to change the galaxy?" She looked at the final image on her screen. Captain Jeho helping the Nexeri refugees. One simple act of kindness that started it all. The Krathi were right about one thing. Humanity was dangerous, but not in the way they thought. Kindness, it seemed, was the most powerful force in the universe. The emergency alarm woke Captain Jiho in the middle of the night. Another distress call. The fifth one this month. "What is it this time?" he asked, hurrying to the bridge of the morning calm. Hei-yun looked up from her screens. "Damaged ship at the edge of our sensor range. Looks like engine trouble." She paused. "Captain, this feels like the others." Jiho knew what she meant. Ever since their rescue of the Nexeri, they had found a strange number of damaged ships in their path. Too many to be just bad luck. "Crafty ships watching us again?" he asked. Dong-Huk nodded from his security station. "3 of them. They're hiding behind that asteroid field, but our new sensors can spot them." After the Krathi's warning to Earth, they had started what they called their mercy tests. They sent damaged ships into human space, watching to see if humans would keep helping even when they knew it might be a trap. "Should we ignore this one?" Hei-yun asked quietly. "Everyone knows it's probably another test." Jiho walked to the main window, looking at the distant shape of the damaged ship. "What if it's not? What if this time someone really needs help?" "The Krathi are trying to teach us a lesson," Dong-Huk said. "They want us to learn to be cold like them." Jiho smiled. "Then let's teach them a lesson instead. Hei-yun, plot a course to that ship. Dong-Huk, ready the medical bay. Let's show them what real strength looks like." As they got closer, they could see it was a small research vessel. Its power was failing, and its distress signal was weak. Through their sensors, they could see 3 life forms aboard. "This is Captain Jiho of the Morning Calm," he broadcast. "We're here to help." The response came in broken signals. "Please, life support failing. Need immediate." Jiho looked at his crew. They all knew this could be another trick, but they also knew they couldn't take that chance. The rescue went smoothly. Too smoothly, perhaps. The 3 aliens they saved were clearly actors, playing the part of desperate scientists. But Jiho and his crew helped them anyway, fixed their damaged engine, and gave them supplies. From their hiding place, the Krathi observers watched in growing frustration. They knew it was a test. One Krathi commander growled. They knew, and they helped anyway. "Worse," his assistant said. "They were kind about it. They didn't even mention knowing it was fake." Back on the morning calm, Jiho wrote in his captain's log, "Another Krathi test today. That makes 12 this month across human space. They keep trying to break our kindness, to make us stop helping. They don't understand that each test only makes us stronger." He looked at the latest reports from Earth. Every human ship that had faced these tests had chosen to help, even knowing they were probably fake. Some captains even left notes for the Krathi observers, inviting them to share a meal next time, instead of hiding. "The Krathi think they're testing our weakness," Jiho wrote, "but they're actually spreading our strength. Every actor they send to test us experiences human kindness firsthand. Every observer watches us choose to help even when we know it's a trick." The next day, they got another distress call. And another. The Krathi were becoming desperate, sending more and more tests. But something unexpected was happening. Some of the young Krathi actors were starting to ask questions. Why did the humans help even when they knew it was fake? Why did they give extra supplies, share food, tell jokes to ease the tension? Why did this weakness feel so much like strength? In her lab on Earth, Dr. Yujin added another note to her research. "The Krathi mercy tests have backfired. Instead of teaching humans to be cruel, they're teaching Krathi to be kind. Every fake rescue is a real lesson in human compassion." The crisis wasn't turning out how the Krathi had planned. Their tests weren't breaking human kindness, they were spreading it. And soon, they would need that kindness more than they knew. As Jiho ended his log entry, another alarm sounded. Another distress call. Another chance to show the galaxy what real strength looked like. "Ready, rescue team," he said with a smile. "Let's go show the Krathi how dangerous kindness can be." The emergency alarm woke Captain Jiho in the middle of the night. Another distress call. The 5th one this month. "What is it this time?" he asked, hurrying to the bridge of the morning calm. Hei-yun looked up from her screens. "Damaged ship at the edge of our sensor range. Looks like engine trouble." She paused. "Captain, this feels like the others." Jai-ho knew what she meant. Ever since their rescue of the Nexeri, they had found a strange number of damaged ships in their path. Too many to be just bad luck. "Crappy ships watching us again?" he asked. Dong-Tuk nodded from his security station. "3 of them. They're hiding behind that asteroid field, but our new sensors can spot them." After the Krathi's warning to Earth, they had started what they called their mercy tests. They sent damaged ships into human space, watching to see if humans would keep helping even when they knew it might be a trap. "Should we ignore this one?" Hei-yun asked quietly. "Everyone knows it's probably another test." Jai-ho walked to the main window, looking at the distant shape of the damaged ship. "What if it's not? What if this time someone really needs help?" "The Krathi are trying to teach us a lesson," Dong-Huk said. "They want us to learn to be cold like them." Jai-ho smiled. "Then let's teach them a lesson instead. Hei-yun, plot a course to that ship. Dong-Huk, ready the medical bay. Let's show them what real strength looks like." As they got closer, they could see it was a small research vessel. Its power was failing, and its distress signal was weak. Through their sensors, they could see 3 life forms aboard. "This is Captain Jai-ho of the Morning Calm," he broadcast. "We're here to help." The response came in broken signals. "Please, life support failing. Need immediate." Jai-ho looked at his crew. They all knew this could be another trick, but they also knew they couldn't take that chance. The rescue went smoothly. Too smoothly, perhaps. The 3 aliens they saved were clearly actors, playing the part of desperate scientists. But Jai-ho and his crew helped them anyway, fixed their damaged engine, and gave them supplies. From their hiding place, the Krathi observers watched in growing frustration. They knew it was a test. One Krathi commander growled. They knew, and they helped anyway. "Worse," his assistant said. "They were kind about it. They didn't even mention knowing it was fake." Back on the Morning Calm, Jai-ho wrote in his captain's log, "Another Krathi test today. That makes 12 this month across human space. They keep trying to break our kindness, to make us stop helping. They don't understand that each test only makes us stronger." He looked at the latest reports from Earth. Every human ship that had faced these tests had chosen to help, even knowing they were probably fake. Some captains even left notes for the Krathi observers, inviting them to share a meal next time instead of hiding. "The Krathi think they're testing our weakness," Jai-ho wrote, "but they're actually spreading our strength. Every actor they send to test us experiences human kindness firsthand. Every observer watches us choose to help even when we know it's a trick." The next day, they got another distress call. And another. The Krathi were becoming desperate, sending more and more tests. But something unexpected was happening. Some of the young Krathi actors were starting to ask questions. Why did the humans help even when they knew it was fake? Why did they give extra supplies, share food, tell jokes to ease the tension? Why did this weakness feel so much like strength? In her lab on Earth, Dr. Yu-jin added another note to her research. "The Krathi mercy tests have backfired. Instead of teaching humans to be cruel, they're teaching Krathi to be kind. Every fake rescue is a real lesson in human compassion." The crisis wasn't turning out how the Krathi had planned. Their tests weren't breaking human kindness. They were spreading it. And soon, they would need that kindness more than they knew. As Jai-ho ended his log entry, another alarm sounded. Another distress call. Another chance to show the galaxy what real strength looked like. "Ready, rescue team," he said with a smile. "Let's go show the Krathi how dangerous kindness can be." The warning came from deep space. The Krathi Empire's sun was acting strangely. Strange spots had appeared on its surface, growing larger each day. Their scientists were worried, but the Krathi leaders refused to ask for help. Admiral Tawan stood on the bridge of the Earth ship Hope, reading the report again. The Krathi sun was about to release a massive solar storm. Without help, billions would die. They still won't accept our offer to help, he asked his communication officer. No, sir. The Krathi High Command says they would rather die than show weakness. Taiwan looked at the pictures of the Krathi sun. The storm would hit in less than 2 days. He pressed a button on his chair. This is Admiral Tawan to all Earth ships. The Krathi won't ask for help, so we're going to help anyway. Prepare for rescue operations. Across human space, ships changed course. The Morning Calm, now famous for starting it all, was one of the first to volunteer. Captain Jeho sent a message to the Admiral. They didn't ask us to save them the first time either. The Krathi border patrols were confused when hundreds of human ships appeared. They were even more confused when the ships didn't attack. Instead, each human ship broadcast the same message. We are here to help. The solar storm will destroy your worlds. Let us save your people. In their grand palace, the Krathi leaders argued. We cannot accept help, one shouted. It will make us look weak. But outside, things were changing. Young Krathi had seen too many examples of human kindness. They didn't want to die just to look strong. On the first Krathi colony world, a young officer named Min-Ki made a choice. When the human ships arrived, he ordered his forces to help them land. Other young officers followed his example. The solar storm hit with terrible force. But the humans were ready. Their ships had special shields, designed to protect against solar radiation. They loaded as many Krathi as they could onto their ships. Admiral Tawan worked without rest. How many have we saved? He asked his crew. 2 billion so far, someone answered. But there are still more out there. The Krathi High Command watched in shock as humans risked their lives to save people who had been their enemies. Some human ships were damaged by the storm, but they kept going back for more survivors. On one world, Captain Jeho and the Morning Calm worked with Min-Ki to save a group of Krathi children. The children were scared, but Jeho's crew gave them candy and told them funny stories while the adults worked. Why are you doing this? Min-Ki asked Jeho. We tried to test you, to break you. We said humans were weak. Jeho smiled as he helped another family board his ship. Being strong enough to help others is never weak, he said. Being brave enough to accept help is never shameful. The rescue took 3 days. When it was over, the humans had saved 4 billion Krathi. The Krathi Empire's worlds were badly damaged, but their people had survived. In the Krathi High Command, the old leaders could only watch as their people learned a powerful lesson. The humans they had called weak had just saved their entire species. Admiral Tawan sent one final message to the Krathi leaders. We didn't help you to make you weak. We helped you because that's what strong people do. They help others. Later, in his ship's log, Tawan wrote, The Krathi wanted us to show them our real strength. Today we did. We showed them that kindness isn't weak. It's the strongest force in the universe. On the damaged Krathi worlds, something new was happening. Young Krathi like Min-Ki were helping rebuild, working together in ways their species never had before. They had learned that true strength wasn't about standing alone. It was about helping each other. The old Krathi way was changing. They had seen a different kind of power, one that didn't need weapons or threats. They had seen the power of kindness, demonstrated in the most powerful way possible, by saving those who had called you weak. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was quiet. On the main screen, images of the Krathi rescue played. 4 billion lives saved. An entire civilization given a second chance. Ambassador Song Min watched as the council members whispered among themselves. Next to him sat Min-Ki, the young Krathi officer who had helped save his people. Things had changed since the solar storm. We have been wrong about humans, the head of the council said. What we thought was weakness was actually strength all along. Dr. Yu Jin stepped forward to present her research. Behind her, Screens showed how human kindness had spread across the galaxy. "Look at these numbers," she said. "Wherever humans go, cooperation increases, trade becomes easier, conflicts decrease. Our kindness isn't just a feeling. It's a force that changes everything it touches." Min-Ki stood up to speak. His voice was strong and clear. "I was taught that the Krathi way was the only way to be strong. Fight everything. Trust no one. Stand alone." He paused. "But humans showed us a different kind of strength." On screens around the room, more data appeared. Planets where humans had helped were doing better than ever. Species that had learned to cooperate were building amazing new things together. "Human kindness is like a weapon," one council member said. "But instead of destroying, it builds. Instead of hurting, it heals." Song Min smiled at that. "Not a weapon," he corrected gently. "A gift. One that anyone can learn to use." Back on Earth, Captain Jiho sat in a classroom full of alien students. After the Krathi rescue, many species had asked humans to teach them about kindness. Jiho told them about the first Nexari rescue, about how one small act of help had started everything. "But how do you know when to help?" a young Krathi asked. "How do you know it's not a trick?" "Simple," Jiho answered. "If someone needs help, you help, even if it might be a trick. Because the cost of not helping when someone really needs it is far worse than the cost of helping when they don't." In space stations across the galaxy, things were changing. Species that had never worked together were building joint projects. Old enemies were learning to be friends. And everywhere, the story of human kindness spread. Dr. Yu Jin added new notes to her research. "Human kindness has become the most powerful force in the galaxy, not because it forces people to change, but because it shows them a better way to live." Min-Ki, now working with humans to teach other Krathi, wrote in his daily report, "Our old leaders thought strength meant being feared. Humans taught us that real strength is being loved, being trusted, being kind." The morning calm still patrolled space, still answered every distress call. But now they often found other ships already there, helping. Species that had once ignored calls for aid were learning to be the first to respond. In her lab, Dr. Yu Jin showed Ambassador Song Min her latest findings. "Look at this," she said excitedly. "When humans help others, it starts a chain reaction. Those who were helped want to help others. It spreads like ripples in a pond." Song Min looked at the data. Everywhere humans had shown kindness, more kindness grew. It was changing the galaxy faster than any war ever could. "The Krathi were right to call us dangerous," he said with a smile. "But not for the reasons they thought. Our kindness is dangerous because it's unstoppable. Once people see it work, they want to try it themselves." That evening, as ships from a dozen species worked together to build a new medical station, Min-Ki watched from a window. A year ago, these species wouldn't even talk to each other. Now they worked side by side, helping each other. "Humans didn't conquer the galaxy," he wrote in his personal log. "They did something much more powerful. They taught the galaxy how to be kind. And that changed everything." Chief Medical Officer Sun Hai walked through the halls of the new hospital ship Mercy. 5 years had passed since the great Krathi rescue, and things had changed more than anyone expected. The ship was filled with doctors and nurses from 20 different species. They worked together, sharing their knowledge of medicine and healing. In the children's ward, a young Krathi doctor played games with sick children from 3 different worlds. "Remember when the Krathi wouldn't even talk to other species?" Sun Hai's assistant asked. Sun Hai nodded, checking her medical charts. "Now they're some of our best doctors. Turns out their strength and toughness make them excellent emergency workers." The Mercy was just one of hundreds of hospital ships that now traveled through space. The idea had started small, humans sharing their medical knowledge with others, but it had grown into something bigger. On the bridge, Sun Hai got a call from Earth. It was Dr. Yu Jin, still studying how kindness was changing the galaxy. "You need to see this," Yu Jin said excitedly. The latest data shows that worlds touched by human kindness are changing completely, not just in how they act, but in how they think. She showed sun-high images from across space. The Krathi Empire, once known only for its warriors, was now famous for its rescue teams. Young Krathi were proud to be known for saving lives instead of taking them. It's not just the Krathi, Eugene continued. Every species that learns kindness wants to teach it to others. It's like a peaceful revolution spreading through space. In the Krathi Empire, the changes were biggest of all. The old leaders had tried to stop it, but they couldn't. Their young people had seen a better way to live. Min Ki, now a senior commander, led a meeting of young Krathi officers. Our parents taught us that helping others was weak, he told them. But humans taught us that kindness takes more courage than fighting. The young officers nodded. Many of them had been saved during the solar storm. They had seen human kindness firsthand, and it had changed them forever. On trading stations and colony worlds, old barriers were falling. Species that once fought over resources now shared them. When disasters struck, ships from many worlds rushed to help. Sun He's hospital ship visited a Krathi mining colony. Years ago, the miners would have chased away any alien ship. Now they welcomed the doctors, sharing their food and telling stories. Our children are different, an old Krathi miner told Sun Hai. They don't want to fight. They want to help, to build, to heal. Like humans do. The revolution wasn't always easy. Some species resisted the changes. Some old leaders tried to keep their people from learning human ways. But they couldn't stop their young people from seeing the truth, that kindness made everyone stronger. Back on the Mercy, Sun He wrote in her log, "Today we treated patients from 8 different species. Their bodies were different, but their needs were the same. They all wanted kindness, care, and hope." She watched as her crew worked together. A human nurse comforted a scared alien child. A Krathi doctor gently treated a human patient. Species that once would have fought were now healing each other. The real revolution, she wrote, isn't in what we do. It's in how we think. Humans didn't just teach the galaxy to be kind. We showed them that kindness is worth more than power. In deep space, the morning calm still answered distress calls. But now, Captain Jeho often found other ships already there, helping. The galaxy was learning what humans had known all along, that the strongest people were the ones who helped others. The revolution is winning, Dr. Eugene told the Galactic Council. Not with weapons or wars, but with kindness. One act of help at a time, one person at a time, we're building a better galaxy. And in hospitals, on space stations, and on countless worlds, the revolution of kindness kept spreading. Unstoppable, unexpected, and more powerful than anyone had dreamed. 20 years had passed since the morning calm first helped a damaged Nexari ship. Captain Jeho, now with gray in his hair, stood at a window in the Galactic Council's Great Hall. Behind him, representatives from 100 worlds discussed new ways to work together. "Did you ever think it would turn out like this?" Dr. Eugene asked, joining him at the window. She was older too, but her eyes still shone with curiosity. Jeho watched as ships from different species helped build a new space station. Humans worked beside Krathi, who worked beside Nexari, who worked beside dozens of other species. "Honestly," he said, smiling, "I just wanted to help some people in trouble. I never thought it would change everything." But it had changed everything. The galaxy they now lived in was different from the one they had known. Species that once fought now helped each other. Worlds that once stood alone now worked together. In the council chamber, Min Ki, now a senior Krathi leader, gave a speech. 20 years ago, we thought humans were dangerous because they were kind. We were right, but not in the way we thought. He showed images of the old galaxy, worlds divided, species fighting, everyone struggling alone. Then he showed the new galaxy, worlds connected, species helping each other, everyone growing stronger together. Human kindness was dangerous, he continued. Dangerous to old ways of thinking. dangerous to the idea that we had to fight to be strong, dangerous to the belief that helping others made you weak. Dr. Yu Jin shared her final research results. Her lifetime of studying how kindness changed the galaxy had led to amazing discoveries. Worlds that learn to be kind are doing better than ever, she explained. Their people are happier. Their children are healthier. Their societies are stronger. Kindness didn't make them weak. It made them powerful in ways they never imagined. On the morning calm, now a training ship for young officers, He-Yun and Dong-Guk still worked with Jai-Ho. They taught new crews from many species about the power of helping others. Remember, Jai-Ho told his students, strength isn't about having the biggest ships or the most weapons. Real strength is being brave enough to be kind, even when it's hard, even when you're scared, even when others might take advantage of you. Across the galaxy, the changes could be seen everywhere. The Krathi, once feared as warriors, were now famous for their emergency rescue teams. The Nexeri had turned their trading networks into ways to help worlds in need. Every species had found its own way to be kind. In schools on 1,000 worlds, children learned the story of the morning calm and the Nexeri ship. They learned how one simple act of kindness had started a revolution that changed the galaxy. But the real story, Jai-Ho told the council, isn't about that one rescue. It's about what happened after. It's about how every person who received kindness wanted to share it with others. It's about how being kind made us all better. As he finished speaking, news came in of a new species making contact with the galaxy. In the old days, this would have caused fear and preparation for war. Now ships from 12 worlds rushed to welcome them, ready to show them kindness. That's the real power of kindness, Dr. Yu Jin wrote in her final report. It never runs out. It only grows stronger as more people share it. In trying to warn us that kindness made humans dangerous, the Krathi helped us discover our greatest strength. Jai-Ho looked out at the stars one last time before heading home. The galaxy was different now, changed by something so simple yet so powerful: the choice to be kind. We didn't conquer the galaxy, he wrote in his last captain's log. We didn't defeat our enemies or rule over others. We did something much more powerful. We taught the galaxy how to be kind. And that changed everything. In the Great Hall, as representatives from 100 worlds worked together for a better future, the story of human kindness lived on. Not as a weakness to be feared, but as a strength to be shared. A strength that had made humans the most dangerous and most helpful species in the galaxy.